Welcome to Rock Solid, the Round Rock Business Leaders Podcast. Join your host, Bryan Eisenberg, as he explores the journeys of entrepreneurs and companies across Round Rock, Texas. From startups and nonprofits to large organizations, each guest shares their passion for doing business in this thriving community. Let's dive in.
Hi, everybody. It's Bryan Eisenberg, and welcome to Rock Solid. I have the honor today of being joined by Charlie Culpepper from Round Rock Industrial, as well as so many other things that you have done, including just serving our city for over 40 years, from mayor and councilman, chamber. Welcome.
Thank you. Glad to be here. Thank you for having me.
I'm really excited because I'm a New Yorker. I've been up in this area around 10 years.
Yeah.
And we've been doing this podcast. We've probably recorded close to 30 episodes. And the one constant I keep hearing from everybody is just how great the leadership has been at being forward thinking in this community, as opposed to so many others like our neighbors down south, who kind of thought they were going to just be a small city, but you guys had a bigger vision and wanted more. And you've been down here since 1977, you said.
Correct.
And there were 5,000 people.
One traffic light, and 79 was a two-lane highway.
How did people get up here? Because I remember when I first started coming down to visit Austin in like 2000. Like you hit the 183, and like it felt like you were nowhere already.
You could drive from Burnett Road to Round Rock, Highway 35 from Austin to Round Rock, and not see a car after about 8 or 9 at night. That's hard to believe, but trust me.
To where we are now.
Yeah.
And you were instrumental in a lot of the things that have put us on the map. Not the Round Rock Donuts. that I think got here before you.
Yeah, they did.
But you were instrumental in helping us get the Round Rock Express, Dell,
yes.
Through some creative means as well, through both of those. And I'd love to learn more about, again, how we got there, how you worked with the community for that vision to make it what Round Rock is today.
I give so much credit to our staff, Bob Bennett and his staff. Bob had 4 city managers working for him, and that could have gone and been a city manager, but he kept that talent together. And once they decided we had a vision, let's go ahead and implement that vision. Dell announced they were leaving Austin about 6 weeks before I was elected in May of 1993.
Okay.
And they didn't say they're coming to Round Rock. They were looking at Phoenix. They were looking at Nashville. They might be looking at some other cities. And so our staff said, Dell was a computer company then. Mm-hmm. And every time Microsoft came out with a new operating system, you had to go buy a new computer.
Yep.
And so they were generating a lot of that sales tax, and our staff said, let's give some of the sales tax back to them, make them a bit more successful. Austin made that offer, but Austin told them how they wanted them to spend it. And we said, you're a pretty smart company, you take that money and you grow and sell more computers and get us more sales tax. So we did that. We were down at the Capitol. I was down there with Dell attorney most of the summer because Austin was, even though Dell said we're not going to stay in Austin, Bruce Todd, the mayor of Austin, was fighting us. Mm-hmm. And Dell needed some money for capital improvements, infrastructure, and we were down there trying to get some money for something called the Texas Capital Fund. And Bruce fought us, and he finally Dell said, Bruce, we're leaving. So signed the contract, and they put a sales office out here the day after I signed the contract.
Wow.
And we turned the dirt in 1993, the fall of 93, and they opened their first building in fall of 94.
What was on that campus, so that area? Because right now it's a bunch of buildings. What was there beforehand?
It was an open field. And I mean, that was an area called Boardwalk. It was a road district that went toes up, and that was Greenfield. And I'll tell you a quick story. My daughter, who is now the Mayor Pro Tem of Round Rock, might say my wife was a teacher. So starting in kindergarten until my daughter graduated from high school, I would take my daughter back to school clothes shopping. Kathy's, my wife, said, I've got get prepared for school. So we started from K through 12. So they call me and say, hey, we need you to come out here. We're going to have a groundbreaking. I said, well, I've got a date with my daughter. Well, bring her. So we went out, turned a little dirt, and ate some barbecue.
That must have been a memorable moment. Does she still talk about it today?
When I bring it up.
Rock Solid is produced and recorded at Round Rock Studio. Located right here in Round Rock, our state-of-the-art studio is built for podcasters and creatives alike. We offer multiple professionally designed podcast sets, top-notch recording gear, and a full photography studio ready for any project. Whether you're launching a new podcast or upgrading your existing one, we can help with multi-camera recording, editing, and everything you need for success. Record with us at Round Rock Studio, your local podcasting partner.
What's amazing to me is, what we talked about. So, there's been so much progress, and you started from when this was, a small town of 5,000, and you've managed to keep your daughter in the community, your grandkids in the community. What do you think is that glue that made them stick here?
Our council always had a vision that we would create an economy where our children could get a good education in Round Rock. They could go off and get an education at an Institute of Higher Learning. And then if they wanted to move back to Round Rock, we'd have a job for them. And when Kristen and my son-in-law started getting serious, she said, if you plan on living with me, or marrying me, you better plan on living in Round Rock. And so my wife and I are the beneficiaries of that. And like I said, I have 3 grandsons that started elementary, graduated from Round Rock High. A lot of my daughter's friends from high school are living here now. They're working at, there's a lot of opportunities here. And so I see quite a few of them. So
I'm going to make you kind of look back, it's been 25 years with Dell, about 25 years with the Round Rock Express as well, right? Could you imagine what Round Rock looks like today when you were making those decisions 25 years ago?
A real quick story. In 1991, we were looking at bringing a minor league baseball team to Round Rock. That's when Iraq invaded Kuwait. Oil prices going up. We were going into recession. We had an election. The state was going to be financed with sales tax. If that election had passed, where Dell is now, there would be a minor league baseball stadium. We would not be associated with the Ryan family and the credibility that they brought to the game. So it failed like 2-1. So baseball was not even on our radar when Reed called me. But we were having meetings with Dell was more with the state level trying to get infrastructure. The Express, Round Rock was a different place back in 1997, and Dell's financial advisors were saying, what makes you think people are going to drive all the way to Round Rock to watch a baseball game?
Yeah.
He was, we've got, baseball is very big in Round Rock from youth sports all the way up to the Express.
We got a great little league program here. Yeah, the high schools,
and the Round Rock High is always in the playoffs, and I just knew it was going to be a success. We talked about, do you think maybe on the weekend you could get 5,000 or 6,000 people at Dell Diamond? And we didn't know, but I mean, if you have less than 8,000 or 9,000 people there, it's a bad night. And it's not just Round Rock. It's the surrounding communities. People come down from Waco, Temple. I meet people that they're touring baseball stadiums, going around the country, and I don't think any of us figured how successful it's going to be. But then they've taken it and they have the college tournaments.
Oh yeah,
and we've got
the high school playoffs that they have there as well, which is. It's funny. When I first moved down here with my son, a year afterwards, my mom passed. And we had to do finish cleaning up her house. And I said, okay, if I'm going to take my middle one at that point, he was like 12 or 13. Yeah. I was like, let's do a baseball drive-by. We'll hit a bunch of cities.
Yeah.
And I got to visit with the CMO of the St. Louis Cardinals. And he told me, he said, one of the things that they've done that's created so much magic and so much loyalty to their team is that they have their high schools play on that field, and it's always a memorable thing. And then when I got down here and I saw, obviously, the Round Rock Express do that same thing, they understand community.
Well, Chris Almendares, have you interviewed him yet?
Not on this podcast, but my son had started a baseball podcast, and he's had Chris on the podcast.
And Chris, both his sons played baseball at Round Rock High.
One's coaching college now.
Yeah, and Chris played college ball, and so he was a baseball person and very active in the community. So that was just when he became president, it was just a natural fit, and he promotes it, trying to look for ways. And what's great is, for those tournaments, people come in. We call it heads and beds. They come here, they eat here, they sleep here. Then Sunday they go home. And the same thing with Old Settlers Park.
Well, it's interesting because that's part of the way you talked about getting it financed, right? Which was, again, a little bit of a twist. So how did that come about?
Well, we knew we could bond $9 million. We didn't have that many hotel rooms, but our financial person said you could do bond. So we set out with them and said, okay, here's our limit. But then Reed added luxury suites, a club, a swimming pool, and it got the ticket up to $23 million. And Reed said, okay, we'll pay the difference. And our portion is paid for with hotel, motel money, a revenue bond. So if the money's not there, the bond holders wouldn't be paid till the money was there, but never became an issue. The stadium is paid for. And one thing I'd like to point out, the stadium is owned by the citizens of Round Rock. And since it's paid for with hotel, motel revenue, if you do not go to Dell Diamond, if you do not stay at a hotel in Round Rock, that stadium doesn't cost you a penny.
Interesting.
Yeah.
What was the spark that got you thinking about financing it that way? Because it's not the way. Right now there's a lot of talk about opening up a major league stadium, and people are talking about Austin stuff like that. Yeah, what was that? What was that creative thinking behind that?
Well, we got shot down with sales tax and property tax. We knew the citizens would never go for it. So once again, the staff. I went back. I got a call from Reed Bryan in the fall of '96, and he was green as grass, and he was doing some sports show for ESPN. We agreed to get together after the holidays. So January of '97, Reed and I meet at Chili's. And I laid out the rules. I said, Reed, no sales tax, no property tax. If we can figure out a way to get it done, let's get it done. Luckily, our city manager and the staff were all big baseball fans. So I went back to City Hall and said, hey, guys, let's figure this out. They came up with the idea of what is now the United Heritage Center, put a convention center there, and that way we could pay for it with hotel motel tax. So we went forward with that. Nolan Ryan was on the board of the Texas Hotel Motel Association because he owned a motel in Tilden, which is by Choke Canyon. The CEO of the Hotel Motel Association fought us. It's not a proper use for hotel motel money, and we had to go all the way to the Attorney General to get a ruling that we could use that. So anyway, it was just thinking outside the box by our staff.
And it's something that Round Rock does really well.
I agree.
Again, it's why it's such a different community. We hear it time and time again from all our guests, the forward thinking that you guys had, all the planning, all the investment in community, because it's not like a lot of other cities where there's little cliques and, city council doesn't work with, the government and the chamber. Like everybody's kind of disconnected. The nonprofits are all, in their own world. And here, everyone seems to kind of work together. Where do you think that ethos comes from?
I think originally, when Round Rock started to go, we all came looking for a place to live and raise a family and retire. Mm-hmm. And start a business or work for a business. And you got to know people who were thinking the same as you. And then we realized if we want to be a complete city, we need to have economic growth. And it just kind of, it just happened, and I say it just happened. A lot of people doing a lot of hard work made it happen, but it did happen. And we continue. There was a conversation several years ago, well, more than several, when our children were coming back. It's kind of who's the next generation of leadership? Where are they coming from? Trust me, we got plenty. I mean, Jessica, Celicia, our council, our mayor, it's just, and everybody's in it for the right reason. They want to make Round Rock a better place, keep it going.
When you got here, it was after you left the service.
Yeah.
And again, you served in.
I was in the Naval Reserve. I never went active. I was supposed to go active duty, and I failed the physical. I hurt my back, and they gave me this was in 1970, I believe. They gave me an honorable. They said we'll do two things. One, we'll fix your back, and you can go active, or we'll give you an honorable discharge. And because Vietnam was starting to wind down, and I said, where do I sign? So I got an honorable discharge, but I was not active long enough to get a DD 214.
But you decided after that to move here.
Well, I moved to Austin. I was working when I was in the reserve. I started my education at Stephen F. Austin, and I got drafted. And so I joined the Naval Reserve, and so I didn't know when I was going to go active. So I was working at Texas Instruments, and after all that happened with getting the discharge, I was living with two guys. Both of them had already graduated from SMU. They were both CPAs, and I said, if I'm ever going to get my degree, I got to get out of town. So I was dating a girl that came to Texas. We was here at Texas. I moved down here to go to school. She immediately broke up with me, and it happens. Yeah. So, but anyway, that's how I got down here, and then Kathy and I got married, and my wife is from Refugio, which is just 5,000 people between Corpus and Victoria. And it's known for high school football. They've been in the playoffs more than any other school in Texas. So anyway, we bought our first house in Oak Hill, lived out there. In 1977, our street teed into 290, and there was no traffic light. Traffic was already getting busy, and so Kathy says, "I want to move to a small town. I want to get back, like I grew up." So we started looking around. Obviously, Dripping Springs was too far. Pflugerville maybe had. I didn't have 1,000 people. Hutto was just where you had to slow down because of the speed trap, and Georgetown was too far. So we came out here and drove around, and first place we looked, Kathy said, "Charlie, look at those neat little houses, those white houses. They're so cute." I said, "Kathy, that's the Baptist Children's Home." So anyway, we found a house here in Round Rock West and bought it, and then 8 years we were there, and then we moved over to where we live now for the last 40 years.
Did she ever feel like, oops, this grew too fast?
No. Being a school teacher, my wife is real resilient, and she. You were talking about the growth. When we moved out here in '77, she taught her first 2 years in South Austin. Can you imagine driving from Round Rock?
Not anymore.
Not anymore. So, and then she got a job at Northeast Austin Elementary School, and then she got hired by Round Rock ISD, and like I said, she finished the last 21 years here at Deepwood.
That's phenomenal, and again, so much appreciated for the impact she's had, because we've also heard that from some of the people who've grown up here, like Darwin Tanksley and Celicia and others. It's like the teachers they had here have made such an impact on them.
We still go to dinner, and people will walk up and say, "Mrs. Culpepper, you remember me? You were my second grade teacher," and that's how many years later. I mean, she retired in 2003, so. But they're here. They have jobs. They're married. Their kids, they want their kids to do the same thing. Deepwood, Chisholm, Round Rock High.
One of the things that still shocks me about the community is, I don't know what our census is now, but it's up there.
130. What? Yeah.
Yeah, it's over 100,000, right? 130, 140,000, give or take, right? But it still has that small community feel.
I agree with you to a certain point. I just wonder if those people that are moving up in the university area, that northeast around it, that quadrant, they don't have the association that we have that live close to downtown.
Okay.
And they can say they live in Round Rock, but did they participate in the 4th of July parade? Did they go down for Christmas family night? Did they do the stuff that we did for years? And that's I don't know anything I can do about it, but like I said, I think about it when I'm out there in that part of town.
I guess that is part of what happens as communities grow, right?
Yeah.
You get some of the edges, and they kind of don't get the heart of what downtown is.
Yeah.
Again, so much has changed since in the last few years, from Kalahari opening. We're getting a new chamber building downtown. Yeah. Other big companies are moving in. New technologies are moving in. What are you looking forward for this community in the next 10 years?
Finish all the road work. which will never be done. But you know, I just hope that we have the continuity. You know, Brooks Bennett is the city manager now. Brooks's dad was my city manager, as I said, and we were the shining star of Williamson County. We're the ones that got things done. It was the staff. You know, I mean, councils come and go, but staff was there, and Bob kept that nucleus together. Lori took over, and she kept that nucleus together. I think Gary Hutter's the only one that left, or Brad Williams retired, and now Brooks. I can remember when Brooks was going to CD Folks Middle School, and after school he'd walk over to Bob's office, and he'd be up there absorbing city government, you know, sitting on Bob's couch after school doing his homework. And you know, that's what we have that I don't think any other town around here has, and I hope we can keep that continuity.
So for the parents out there who, you know, might be listening to this and are hoping to generate that, you know, that next, you know, group of leaders in our community, what's your advice to them?
To the parents?
Yeah.
Stay involved with your child. Find out what their love is. You know, if it's arts, if it's sports, and just make sure they get involved in something they like to do and support them. I can't tell you how many baseball games, soccer games, piano recitals, everything went. And it's your children are only young so long, you know, enjoy them. And then you get the blessing you get out of this is you get grandkids. And you know, I took my oldest grandson, Kristen's oldest son, to spring training this year. Basically, you know, he's a big graduate. And my son, who lives in Oregon, came in. So we had the three guys going to spring training, and I will do that every year they'll go now.
Spring training is a lot of fun.
It really is. You know, we had it, and my son and his uncle got to get together one-on-one because he's got two brothers, and it's always all the three brothers and the uncle. So that was important to me. I really think they got to know each other too.
In fact, several years ago, I was out at spring training with my middle son. He's the baseball player, and we got to spend some time with Chris and Tim, and they invited us into their into their suite for a couple of the games. It was just an incredible thing, and again, it's just the tightness of that community. Like, you know, here I am, barely know these people, but they're inviting me from coming into the community into their suite at spring training. It's like, yes, big city, but real small heart community. If you were going to impart some words of wisdom for the current leadership so that they can continue the legacy that you've built here, what are you sharing with them? Well,
4 years ago, I went from being the former mayor of Round Rock to Councilmember Stevens' father. And she and I don't talk politics. I mean, she has a question. I don't give advice, but if she has so Dad, what do you think about this? I'll give her an answer. I think we've had the right mayor and councils at the right time. Look, we got through that tornado with Craig. We got through COVID with Craig. We got through the freeze with Craig. And Craig, he's got some health issues, but he puts the city first. And that's what I want to see is our city councils understand what their job is. They're not going after some crazy things like cap and stitch and all this other stuff. They're very conservative with the taxpayers' money. Plus, they're always looking to find somebody that can partner with and do things. Most people don't realize. The Mickey Krebsbach swimming pool there, that's on school land. The school district needed an east side swimming pool. Round Rock City Rock needed a west side swimming pool, so we got together and said, "Hey, why don't we build a swimming pool on school district land that will benefit both of us?" And that's been there for 20-something years now.
Again, just that cooperation of the community, and again, that's what I find so fascinating. Especially, not to talk politics, but in a world that seems to be so politically divided today, we still come together as a community. Where does that come from? Like, how does that, we still worry about each other as neighbors as opposed to just what our beliefs are?
I think we all just want to pull on the same end of the rope. We have a group. We get together once a month for lunch. We got 5 former mayors.
Okay.
We don't get in a fist fight or anything. and John Sloan, a business leader, former business leader, Niall Maxwell, retired 2-star general, Pat Hamilton, Felix Munson, business owner here in town, Roy Beard. Anyway,
there's some wisdom in that group.
It's fun, and like I said, we're all have been here so long, and we really enjoy each other's company. And there's a lot of razzing going on, but it's all well deserved. So that brings pleasure to me, and I think it does to everybody.
Kind of a summing up question. You've had a business here also for 20 plus years.
Be 30 years in October.
30 years in October. What's been the success to keeping your business for that kind of longevity?
Well, I was partners with the business doing the same thing in Austin, and I've never been divorced, but I did not like, my partner and I didn't see things. We were 50-50, which I would recommend get somebody 51-49.
Yep.
And it was just by Sunday afternoon, I dreaded going to work on Monday. And there's some other issues, and I thought this was back in 95, and I thought, I can do this from my home. The internet was just starting to pick up, people get popular, and I just said I could do this, and now I'll be 77 Monday, and I'm still working. I can't get over the idea of getting up, making coffee, check your emails, and what do you do after 9 o'clock in the morning? I've still got customers. I did a lot of business in Mexico over the years. I've still got some customers in Mexico. And I enjoy what I do, and my office is wherever I have an internet connection. So I take my laptop with me, and business is so much different now than it was 30 years ago.
And a lot more good coffee shops in the area if you want to sneak into.
I know. And Dutch Brothers that's here now, they started in the town where my son lives, Grants Pass, Oregon.
Okay.
Two brothers with a coffee cart. And the Pacific Northwest, everybody drinks coffee.
Everybody, yep.
But they
you have to because it's so gloomy.
Well, we were just in Grants Pass 2 weeks ago. The weather was nice, but they went. One brother died of ALS. So one weekend a year, all the receipts from Dutch Brothers goes to ALS, whatever the parent organization is. But if you go I was familiar with them, and you go there, they're so friendly when you go in. I mean, my granddaughter would go in, and she'd recognize her, and hey, sorry, how you doing today? It was just that friendliness. And he sold Travis Borsma, the living brother, sold the company. It went public for $1 billion. My granddaughter plays on the Dutch Brothers soccer fields in Grants Pass. They have the county has a horse race track. So he went in and put soccer fields in the infield. Turf fields, you've got anywhere from the 6 strokes to the one full-size field. And they did that at no charge to the citizens, and they sponsor the league there. So I was glad to see them coming down here, and they've really, I've seen them there. I just wish they'd build one close to our house.
Yeah, I hear you. If someone has some questions for you, if they want to reach out, is there any good way to get in touch with you?
My phone number is 512-699-0383, and my email is cculpepper@rrindustrial.com. I took one thing when I was mayor. If somebody called the city hall and they want to talk to me, I said, give them my number. I work for them, and a lot of issues can be resolved before they fester. And I felt that was my responsibility.
Well, I appreciate so much everything you've done for our community and continue to be of service. Thank you so much for your time today.
Thank you for inviting me.